Hi. Would you have 5 minutes to kill for a quick chat? Thank you so much. Can I live stream and record you as well?
Sure.
Thank you.
What's it for?
Great question. I have conversations with random people walking by for 5 minutes to see what they believe and why. And usually it's about like deeply held beliefs like God or karma or magic or stuff like that. Do you want to have a quick... There's no right or wrong answer.
Where's this going?
Well, I'm live streaming right now.
Okay.
But I do like to put some of the videos on YouTube if they're, you know, if they're awesome.
I don't think mine would be awesome.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm not very, like, set in any beliefs, I guess you could say. Kind of...
Sometimes those are the most intriguing conversations, honestly. And I'm not going to push you one way or the other. Like, I'm going to be as neutral as white on rice. Like,
Okay.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. What is your first name?
Laurenne.
How do you spell that?
Laurenne.
Oh, that's very pretty. My name is Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Here we go. You've got the same kind of long sleeve things that I've got on too, because it was nice and cold this morning.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of going to be a beautiful day, I think.
Yeah, it's getting really warm.
Yeah. I need to rush. I did a class today and I'm done, but I have a hobby where I just do this stuff because I love it. I love talking to people. But and when I'm done with this, I'm going to probably just head home and do some yard work and stuff like that. What do you have going on today?
I have class all day.
All day? Mm-hmm. It's all indoors, I take it, right?
Yeah.
That stinks.
Yeah.
So, we can talk about really anything.
Okay.
God is sort of my preferred topic, but I mean, we can talk about any like deeply held belief or something that you think is a commonly held, deeply held belief that you're not so certain about. We can talk about that if you want.
I don't know. I don't really know what to say.
Can we narrow it down to God?
Sure.
Okay. So let's just say that there's this belief scale where 0% is I don't believe in any God.
Okay.
I have no confidence and it's all doubt.
Okay.
And 100% is I absolutely believe in the God. There's no doubt. I'm certain he exists.
I'd say I'm about an 80%.
Okay.
I think that there is somebody up there controlling, you know, what goes on.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily believe that that is specifically the God of the Bible or the God of the Quran or whatever. Like,
okay.
I think, I don't know, I worry about those books because I worry that, you know, somebody back then just decided that they wanted to see society act a certain way and they created, you know, these books to, you know, you never know. It could have been some psycho who just wrote the book, or it could have really been God. Like, you just, I guess you don't know. I have that doubt, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, and I struggle with that, for sure.
Okay, so you today wouldn't ascribe to Christianity or Islam or paganism or anything like that?
No, I mean, if I had to lean more towards anything, it'd be Christianity, but just because I was brought up around that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I definitely have a lot of questions, especially about the Bible.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of things that, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that the Bible says that I don't. I guess it's the way people interpret the Bible.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But you worry about those books you said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it worries you that people think that there's a God because they read those books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you never know who wrote those books.
True.
Especially since they're so old. And
okay.
You just don't know.
How did you hear about this God that you're 80% confident in?
Well, like I said, I was brought up in a Christian family. Not like super, you know, dedicated, but we would give our thanks and, you know, pray and say happy birthday Jesus on Christmas, you know, those things. Go to church, but I've always, I don't know how to put it really. I guess just the idea of there's just so many things that have happened in life that you just kind of think, some things you can say, oh, science, like totally, but then there's things that are, you know, miraculous things that happen and you just wonder, like, science said this was going to happen, but this happened, so what caused that to happen? And that's what leads me to think that there is somebody up there, you know, guiding us, I guess you could say, who has something laid out, a plan laid out for us. It's just which God that is, I don't know.
Okay. So if I understand right, you're saying that you don't really you wouldn't call this God a certain name because you say that, well, those books, you kind of worry about them because you don't know who wrote them or what their motivations were.
Yeah.
But you do think that there is some God to the 80% confidence, and one of the reasons you said is because you see miraculous things.
Not necessarily I've seen miraculous things. It's just you, like, I don't know, just little things like science saying, I have a mentally retarded aunt, and she wasn't supposed to live past 13, and she just turned 64.
Oh.
So it's just things like that, you know, that like science like insists that won't happen, and then somehow she's still here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just things like that. Like I've never had like I don't know, I guess it's just little daily things that you just think, how would that even happen?
I think I understand now what you're saying. I want to repeat back like a summary, and if I'm way off, then like correct me please, okay? But are you saying that when you see things that are unheard of or unusual that shouldn't happen, then that would be a reason to be so confident that a God exists?
That there's somebody saying, you know, I don't know, because I'm very scientific based, like my mind.
Are you?
So
what do you study here?
I'm going for pre-med. I'm actually studying psychology though, but I like science. But I guess just things that, you know, like it's not possible kind of thing to happen, and then it happens. So then you're like, wait a second.
Okay.
Somebody up there made that happen. You know? Somehow that, I don't know. Maybe it's just odds. I don't know.
Let me propose this hypothetical for you, okay? And I set the timer late, so are you okay on time?
I don't have class till 2.
Okay, thank you. Let's say that a person that studies the longevity of people that were born with what your aunt was born with. Today, based on science, who studied it maybe far more than when how old is she now?
64.
So that was 50 years ago that they made the statement that there's no way that she would live, right? And she did. But let's say that a study came out this week that clearly explained how people born with her condition could just live regular, normal, everyday lives. And let's say that everything that you might point to as a miraculous thing could be explained through science, and I'm not saying that it can.
No, I know. I get what you're saying.
But if it could,
hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically, if it could, Lauren, if it could, would you lower your confidence from the 80, or would there be other reasons why you would maintain the belief in the God?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like part of me would. I don't know. I guess another reason people, like, not just myself, but a common thing in society, why people want to hold on to the idea of there being a God is that comfort it provides. You know, at the end of the day, if there's something out of your control, then you can say, well, somebody else is controlling it. I just have to take the steps kind of thing. So I guess if these miracles were explained by science, I don't know if it would go down. Probably still try to hold on to maybe that there is somebody, just so to explain some things that, you know.
So those miraculous experiences that you're pointing to as reasons why you're at the 80
but I don't know.
Perhaps aren't really the reasons why, if you would still maintain the belief with such a high degree of confidence if they could be explained. And you mentioned comfort. Can we focus on that for a little bit?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. If anybody believes in something because it gives them a sense of comfort, does it automatically mean that what they're believing in is true?
Not necessarily, in my opinion. Because, I mean, if you think about, you know, Islams find comfort in the Quran, and Christians find comfort in believing in the Bible, and, you know, etc. So it's like I said before, how do we know those books are even real? Like, how do we know if one of them is, how do we know which one is the right one, you know? What if we are believing in the wrong beliefs? So I think that to people of certain religions, that specific religion does provide them comfort, whether or not, I think in their mind they believe it is the right one.
Because of the comfort they get from it.
Well, that, and just because maybe some people were brought up that way, so they just live that way. Some people actually do go to the extent to research it all and make their own decision, and I guess it's just based on what you conclude through all that, if it's gonna be the one that you believe in, what you perceive as the truth, like yourself. And then I guess in that case it'll comfort you, I guess, if you strongly believe that, you know, not everything's in your control.
Yeah. Are you saying that there's no question that people can get comfort from holding a belief?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But are you also saying that it doesn't necessarily mean the belief is true? Okay. Let's pivot back to you, just for a second here. You mentioned that you believe in the God, 80% confident, and largely, I think now it seems like comfort is a factor.
Yeah. I mean, I personally am OCD. I like to be in control. I like to have a plan. I like to, you know what I'm gonna be doing 2 years from now, or you know where I'm gonna be living. But especially right now, I think if you asked me this maybe a year ago, I probably would have had a lower percentage, like a 60-50. But this past few months, my dad retired from the Air Force in May, and we don't have jobs, so we're living like with family. And so it's just, I mean, it's not a big deal or anything, it's just, but I guess the uncertainty of where we're going to be living. My parents don't know if they're going to live in Austin or San Antonio, like when we're even going to have our own house, how much longer we're going to have to live with other people. Like the uncertainty of that, it helps, I guess, when I go to bed at night to say, you know, a prayer to somebody, whether it's God of the Bible, God of the Quran, whatever, you know, just, I guess it helps, it relieves the stress of knowing that I can't control it. I can't control if my dad gets a job, you know. My mom has diverticulitis. It's like inflammation of like diverticuli in your intestines, and I mean,
sorry to hear that.
it's okay. It's like the stress of that, you know. It's like, but I can't control that. I can't control what her body does, how it heals. I can't control if my dad gets a job. So it's like all these things out of my reach. It just helps at the end of the day to have somebody to ask for help. Like maybe there is somebody up there who is controlling this, and this is happening for a reason, and maybe if I just pray to that person, then I mean, I guess it just makes me feel better, since I know I can't do anything, that maybe somebody up there who can will hear me.
Is there a correlation between the uncertainty that you experience and your confidence in the God belief?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Like, when you find yourself needing more comfort, do you become more convinced that God exists? And when you find yourself needing less comfort, you're less confident He exists?
I think it's not necessarily my confidence level changes. It's more of the hope that it exists changes.
Okay. The more comfort you need, the more you hope He exists?
Yeah, basically. That sounds kind of selfish, I guess, but...
What do you mean?
Like, I guess that when I need help, that's when I think about it. Because I try to avoid the whole religion thing because I don't know what I think, I guess. I don't know. I guess I don't. I feel bad that when I need help is when I start to hope that somebody's up there. And when I don't need help, I kind of just blow it off. And I feel like that's selfish of me, but...
Okay, does that mean that the God could exist whether you hope for things to give you comfort or not?
I mean, it could. There could be somebody. See, that's where I don't know. That's where I just think I have no idea. So I just try to, I don't know, I personally try to live as a good person, you know, be kind, help others.
Yeah.
Do those kinds of things. And at the end of the day, if there's a heaven, then hopefully that's enough to get me into it. And if not, then hey, I lived a good life. It's kind to people.
Yeah. Is it possible, Lauren, that just believing in something because you hope it's true and because it gives you comfort, and let's say that there's no question that the belief gives you comfort. How does that have anything to do with the belief being true?
I don't know how my thought process works on that. I can't like put it into words. It's just, I'm not sure.
Do you think anybody can derive comfort from any belief just because they hope that it's true and really want it to be true?
I think so. I
Really?
mean, I think that psychologically, if you're, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know, I guess it could just, even if it's just short-term comfort, the fact that you, like for example with God, like with praying, if you're in a tough situation, and I mean me personally with my family and everything, I guess at the end of the night when I do say like, oh, I thank you for this, and I just pray that my dad will get a job, my mom's surgery will go well, like, I guess it's, I don't know, it's the comfort of putting your worries into something, just putting your worries out there, I guess. Maybe it's the comfort of coming to terms with what you're worried about. Maybe it's the comfort of putting the control in somebody else's hands. I don't know. I just think psychologically we all find comfort in believing in something, one way or another.
Do you think a person putting comfort in something that may not be true could be doing themselves a disservice on some level?
I don't think so. I guess it depends on if the thing that they're putting in. So if the thing that they're putting in. Okay, so for example, if you're putting in all this
the
time,
obvious example that comes to my mind is like these parents that really think that the God is helping them and is going to save their kid, and they don't give that child medicine. Like they really believe it. It gives them comfort to know their God is going to help.
yeah,
And they're all in. They're at the 100% on it. Like they really think it's true. It gives them comfort.
I think that in that sense, if you're withholding something that, see, this is where it gets hard. This is where it gets gray for me, because you want to believe that God will heal their children 100%. But at the same time, if you're withholding medication that is scientifically proven to help them, then I think that there should be a balance, with the science and the religion. So,
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so let's say we look at the 80% of this belief that's largely based on comfort for you, and it's this whole, right? It's a big whole circle. So it's now 100% is all comfort, right? Would you like to replace some of that comfort with evidence, with science?
I personally would. For me, like I said earlier, I have a science-based mind, I feel, so evidence really helps. It makes me more confident in something that I do believe in, but I also tend to look at it from both ways. So if you give me evidence, I might automatically try to find a way to disprove it. And then if I can't, then I'll believe it, I guess.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Yeah, I think it would.
Can you do the same thing with comfort? Can you disprove comfort to realize that it's not a crutch, the crutch that you think that it is?
Sure you could.
How would you go about...
How would you do it, yeah. I'm not sure how you would go about that, but I'm sure that there is a way. You'd have to be very dedicated.
That's a really good question. Like, how would a person go about figuring that the crutch that they're using that gives them comfort is really as sturdy as they think that it is? How do you test it? How do you prod it? And
I don't know. I guess for me, you'd have to have a lot of evidence to prove that my crutch really is something real, I guess.
one last question.
Yes.
And you've been a great sport for hanging in with me on this. Based on this discussion, and you're not going to offend me or anything like that, when we started the talk, you were 80% confident that your God existed, and it's largely based on comfort. Where would you say that you are currently on that belief scale now?
I'd probably say I'm still the same. Because I don't know. I try not to think about it, to be completely honest, because I 1 second feel strongly one way, and then the other I feel completely strongly the opposite way, and so I just try to keep my mind open.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that, like, I don't know. I just try to keep my mind open and try to treat people right. And at the end of the day, I think
that's admirable.
That should be enough, maybe.
Would you rather be at the 80% because you're basing it on evidence or because you're basing it on comfort?
I'd rather be there because of evidence, so that I have, I don't know, I guess the comfort of knowing, the confidence, I guess, I don't know.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate your time.
No problem.
And I've got a card here with my email.